Aloha and welcome to Knitted Paradise, where the needles are clicking and the yarn is squishy. My name is Lucia and you can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Pearl of the Pacific. Welcome everyone to episode 81. Today is Saturday, July 11th, and I have lots of things to show you because it's been 2 weeks since I last recorded. My parents were here last week and things just got super crazy and I just didn't have time. I mentioned it last episode that they weren't going to be in town and that I thought I might not record. So I've now recovered from their visit. I spent the last 2 mornings sleeping in quite a lot, which is kind of unusual for me. I'm totally a morning person and I don't usually sleep in past 8. That's a sleep in for me. So today I woke up at like 9:30 or something. It was crazy. I was like, whoa, okay, this is great. I really needed to sleep. So, ta-da! And as you probably have noticed, I grew quite a lot. I'm sitting in a much higher chair than I normally do because the cat was sitting in mine when I was setting up to record. So I decided this chair was already over here. I just decided, oh, I'll sit in this. So I may be reaching a little farther down because I'm a lot farther from the floor than I normally am. So, but anyway, ta-da. All right, let's get started. Below the conch shell, we have the June and July sock knit along going, and there have been lots of socks being knit, so keep knitting your socks and keep posting finished object pictures in the thread. And I just realized that I should probably turn the volume on my computer off just in case it makes noises for any reason. So yeah, there will be 2 prizes for that. One will be a sock pattern and one will be sock yarn. Haven't chosen those yet. Those will most likely be winner's choice or my choice based on the winner. We'll figure it out when that time comes. Anyway, I felt like I had another announcement, and now I can't remember what it was. And I forgot to put it in the show notes. So if I think about it, I will put it in somewhere. All right, on the island, I have some things because I have been knitting a lot. You'll notice that because I took time off for my parents' visit, there's a lot of knitting that happened. We did go see a lot of really awesome things, which I'll talk about later. But like in our traveling to and from and, you know, during those things, I got a lot of knitting done. So you will be seeing those a little later. So first up, oh, I have to reach way down here. Okay, I have in my Stitch by Dressaloo sock Star Shark bag, I have the Zigzagular socks by Susie White of Prairie Girls Knit and Spin, which is one of my favorite podcasts. If you don't listen to them, you should. And I'm doing them out of GnomeAcres Bungalow Gnome in Dean, Winchester. And it's got this nice slip stitch cable thing up the side. And these are for a friend of my best friend. So they are dude socks, but I thought this is pretty gender neutral. I mean, the yarn is definitely dude yarn. So, but that I thought that's pretty gender neutral. So, ta-da! And I'm doing that. I think I have 72 stitches around. That's my normal dude sock stitch count. So, ta-da! Those are coming along. And I need to get cranking on them. They haven't gotten a whole lot of attention, but I think those are newly cast on. I think everything that I have is a new cast on from last time. So you'll see that. Okay, the next thing is I'm working in my Waldo bag. I'm working on my Waldo and Wenda hats. I guess I'll talk about the yarn now. From the mainland, we'll insert a little thing here. I did get some yarn for these. I went, the other week I realized, I'm like, oh, maybe I should order yarn for these hats that I need to knit before the end of July, maybe? Anyway, so I went on the Loopy U and found, I was like, I just need white and red. and I didn't want worsted weight and I didn't want fingering weight, so I went with sport weight. This is Cascade Superwash Sport, and I got really red and white because that's what they had. I was like, I need a sport weight because I wanted fingering, but I was like, that's gonna take way too long to knit. And I'm like, sport's the next one up because I wanted them a little more fine. So they were the ones that had a red and a white. That worked. So that's what I went with. Ta-da! So they shipped super fast. And I got 3 skeins of the red, and I'm glad I did, and 2 of the white. And I'll show you the one that's mostly finished, minus pom-pom. So I used almost 1 skein of the red for this part. It's going to be folded up, so it'll look more like that. And I used, I think I did 5 inches. I looked up in the patterns because I was like, I just need to have a guide. So I'm using the Cousteau cap by Sari, maybe it's Sari, Nordlund. And so I just used hers for the stitch count, and then I did a lot more ribbing. So after that, I kind of didn't follow it, but I did do the crown decreases from it. So I used a stitch count and the crown decreases, and then everything else was kind of mine. So I think I did 5 inches of ribbing, and I did the large size first because I thought, well, I'll knit the large size, and if it's too small for my husband, then I'll knit him a larger one, and I'll take this one. But if it does fit him, then I'll knit the small for me. So it ended up, it did fit him, so I'm knitting the small for me. And those are the crown decreases. Ta-da! And it fits him quite well. I've woven in the ends, but I haven't blocked it. I'm just going to wait to do them both at the same time. And then I'm going to do a big red pom-pom. So I need to get a pom-pom maker because I want this to be a really nice pom-pom. And so that's why it's not done yet, because it hasn't been washed or blocked or pom-pom added. So I'll wash and block them and then add the pom-pom because you don't really need to block a pom-pom. So anyway, that is one hat, and the other hat is, it's got a little less ribbing, but that's how far it is. So, ta-da! So that'll be done this week at some point. And then those will be ready for Gen Con, which will be awesome. So, ta-da! I'm living in my Waldo bag, which is perfect. And the other thing I cast on was a sweater. It's also based on a pattern. It's not exactly the pattern. I found, I was looking through sweater patterns because I had this yarn. Here, I'll show you my swatch. Is Rowan Creative Linen in Foggy is the colorway. And I bought it last summer. And I was looking through sweaters to maybe use it for, and I found High Tide by Sara Gresbach. I don't know how you pronounce it. Anyway, and I liked the idea of it, but I didn't like the shoulders. They're drop shoulders, and those just don't work with me. Just the way my body is. I have nothing against drop shoulders, they're just not my favorite. So I'm using kind of the idea of the sweater, where it has, you cast on and then you knit a few rows of the stockinette, and so the bottom kind of curls up, and then you do some ribbing, and then most of the sweater stockinette. Hers is striped, I'm not doing striped. And then, anyway, so I knit this swatch, and I started on, I think, size 9s, because I wanted it to be airy, because I'd already done a swatch for another garment out of this, on like 3s or 4s, and it was not working at all. So I went to the other extreme, went to 9s, and then I knit. It didn't take me very long to realize that was way too loose, and I didn't like it. So I did a pro route and went down to 7s, which is what I ended up using. And so you can see I tried this bind off, and then I was like, I don't know if I like that one. So I switched to another one right at the end. You know, that's the purpose of a swatch. So it is washed and blocked. And I did the ribbing back and forth, and then the rest I did swatched in the round. Here, I can talk a little bit about this. So what you do to swatch in the round without knitting the full circle, because this uses up less yarn and it's faster, is that you knit across, and then you have to do this on a circular needle, and then, or I guess a long double point would work too. And then you pull the yarn to the other end, and then you pull the yarn around the back, or you pull the knitting to the other end, excuse me, and then you pull the yarn around the back, and then you start knitting. And I usually knit one stitch and then pull it to match the other one. With the first one, you kind of have to pull it so that, because what you want is you want to be able to lay out the swatch flat and still have the yarn go all the way across the back. Now in the middle, I didn't quite make it. They cut a little tight, so those kind of curl, the edges curl around a little bit, but it's all right. And in the beginning, it worked better too. So once you get one established, you kind of pull it out to match it, or maybe a little bit farther, just in case you're getting a little tight. And then continue to knit the row, and then move the knitting to the other end, pull the yarn around, and start knitting across again. So then you get the same gauge you would if you were knitting in the round without actually knitting in the round. Because knitting flat gauge and knitting in the round gauge are generally different for most people. So that is my little swatch. And yeah, so I did that, and then I cast on the sweater yesterday, and I've done a few rounds, and here it is. Ta-da! So I did the cast on and the few rows of stockinette. It doesn't curl as much in this yarn as it would in, say, a wool, but it does curl a little bit. And then, so I did the, what do you call it, ribbing back and forth, and I did one of them, and then I put it on a holder, and then did the other one, and then joined them both in the round. So that's them. And ta-da! So it's going to be a pretty loose-fitting sweater, and the way I talked about how I calculate this on the episode where I talked about sweaters. I think I called it the sweater episode. But I measured my gauge, and then I measured my hips, and I figured out, I added, a couple inches for some ease, figured out how many stitches I was going to cast on, and then divided that in half. Unfortunately, it was odd, so I just added one on each end, and went knitting on. So I'm not, high tide is a paid for pattern, but because I'm not using a lot of the construction, I'm not calling this, I didn't buy the pattern because I'm not really using it. I'm just kind of using the idea of it. So I did, in my project page, I did link it as like incorporated things from this. But really, I'm just kind of making up the pattern as I go. I just like the idea of the split hem and the stockinette roll before the for the ribbing, because I don't like rolled hems, but I'm okay with it before the ribbing. For some reason, I liked it. It doesn't really roll in the cotton linen, but that's okay. It turned out all right anyway. So that is coming along, and I think it might be a little bigger than I originally intended, but it's meant to be a sweater that you throw on in summer evenings because it's gotten a little cool. That's really it. I mean, it's a cotton linen blend, so ta-da! And yeah, so that's coming along. Where's the other end of the, what's going on here? What did I do? Oh, there it is. I lost the other tie inside the bag. Anyway, oh, I can stick the swatch in here too. It was drying until this morning. Although the cat laid on it yesterday, so that helped dry it quite a bit. He likes to lie on my things as they're blocking. He doesn't harm them anyway, he just lies on them. But he lies across all the T-pins. I'm like, how is that comfortable? I don't understand. I mean, I had pinned this thing to the max so that I could get it, square so I could measure gauge. And he just lied on top of the whole thing. I'm like, how is that comfortable, cat? I don't understand, but he thinks it's comfortable. Someone commented on Instagram that it was cat acupuncture. I'm like, maybe that's what he thinks it is. Works for me. I'm like, it's fine. He doesn't harm the knitting, so I'm okay with it, but I don't know, it's comfortable. Anyway, that's it for On the Island. We have a lot of set sail, so let's get going. First, I finished my Leventry shawl, which is, I was using my Amelia bike bag, which I love. And ta-da! The Leventry shawl is by Sarah Jordan, and I did it out of Leading Men Fiber Arts Showstopper in Director's Interpretation, which is the rainbow, and then Dippin sauce, which is the yellow border. And it is gigantic. I'm not going to be able to fit the whole thing in the screen, but there you get it. Ta-da! And I did add some extra repeats. So I added, I think, 5 repeats, and that gave me another lace panel on either side. And it's huge. Ta-da! But I love it. And it's got a lovely picot bind off. Yeah, this is the week of the little skein bags and the picot bind offs, as I will show you in a little bit. So this is picot bind off number 1, which took forever, but that's okay. It's totally worth it. And I blocked it to get it kind of symmetrical, and because it was so huge and I didn't have enough room in my blocking boards, I did block it folded in half. And I realized that this seems to happen in all of my shawls, that one side is tighter than the other. I mean, this is more even than it was before I blocked it, but you can see that if I hold the middle over here, the side closer to me is tighter, and that's the side that I carried the yarn up, the yarn for the color changes, so it is a little tighter. But I think just that change on that side is tighter on most of my shawls anyway, which is really odd, but I don't know. It's the way it is. But it doesn't really matter. No one's really going to notice. So, ta-da. So that is done, blocked, ready to be worn. And, all right. So shawl number 1. Shawl number 2 and 3 are both in my little skein bags. This is why it was the week of little skein bags, because I got another one, which I'll show you. Oh, here, I'll do the second picot bind off next. So if you follow me Instagram, this is my Over the Moon bag that I got from Little Skein a while ago with the little men in the moon on the inside. And I got some yarn from Knitcircus that matched it perfectly. It was a gradient. Oh, loved it. Anyway, it is Fireflies is the colorway, and I did it in their Pirouette base. And I did the Pebble Beach shawl, which I know you saw the beginning of last week, and now you see the whole thing. Oops. I haven't snipped the ends off, I don't think. No, but I have blocked it, which is quite a challenge because it curves up like this. Ta-da! But I did block it, and it is quite large, and I love it. I did this small size because that's the amount of yarn I had, because I did it in a fingering weight. But I had extra yarn when I got to the end, so I just kept going, and I just kind of made up some stuff at the end. So it's not exactly how the pattern has it, but I just did some repeats of the same thing. So that's what I did at the end. And then another picot bind off. So I love it. I love how it turned out. And I used pretty much every ounce of yarn. I had a tiny, tiny bit left. So I'm glad I added those extra rows. But I have, yeah. It worked out quite well for me somehow, even with the picot bind off, because those take more yarn than most bind offs. So, ta-da! Yeah, this even turned out a little lopsided. I don't know how my shawls turn out so lopsided, but that's all right. No, once they're on, no one notices anyway. It doesn't really matter. Okay. Fold this up, show you the next one. All right. A lot of shawl knitting this week. All right, and the last one I finished in my little Skein treehouse bag was my Swedish spring shawl by Maria Montzka of the Stitched in Sweden podcast. And this I did out of O Loops in their gold sock base in the Dapper Dude colorway. Wow, I'm doing most of this without even looking at my show notes. Ta-da! And this was another one where I had extra yarn once, because you're supposed to do 2 of the lace repeats and then a little bit of a border and then the end. And after I'd done the second repeat, I had a ton of yarn left. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to add some more. So I added another lace repeat, which meant that I didn't have quite enough yarn to do the full edge after the repeat, but I think it turned out all right. So I did a couple rows there and then bound off. I did bind it off with the points, but somehow they didn't stay. They weren't quite as dramatic as I think. Oh, there are some points. So it's kind of, I think the bind off I used, I wasn't sure about it. There's little points. The one in her picture, the points are a little more extreme. I did block it out with points, but I guess they didn't stay very well. I wasn't entirely sure about the bind off I used. I may go back and do a different one. I did the Jenny Surprisingly Stretchy one, but I think it was just the direction I did it makes it roll a little bit so the points don't stay as well. I think I did it on the purl side. So I knit a row, and I think I purled a row. No, it looks like I finished the lace, purled back, knit there, and then bound off on the purl side, but did it knitwise. Because I like the way that looks a little better, but I think it made it roll a little bit, so the points aren't as extreme. I'm okay with that. I love the color, and I love the shawl, and I think it's beautiful, and I will wear it regardless. So, all right, I can put one on now. After, oh here, I can show off my shirt while I'm at it. This is a shirt that my parents got me for my birthday. That was this week, which I'll talk about later. So, ta-da! I love it. It says gratitude. It's a little swirly with a heart in the middle. So, ta-da! It's definitely my colors. And this shawl I knit for the Bakery Bear's favorite color knit along. And the Pebble Beach shawl I did for the Brit along that they're doing. So, hair all over the place. All right, so those were my, I cast them on and knit them in like a week and a half just because I had so much time. It's amazing what you do when you have a lot of time. So yeah, we spent some time watching some Wimbledon, which I love. We're a huge tennis family. I love watching tennis. I really don't play tennis very much. I'm not very good at it. I can do it. My brother is really a tennis person, and my dad taught tennis when he first moved to Hawaii, and so they're kind of the more tennis-y people. I just enjoy watching it. I appreciate it. I know how to play. I just don't play very much. They all do tennis and golf, and I did horseback riding and dance. I was just the weird one, you know. I know how to do tennis and golf. I'm just not very good at them. I have my brother hit all my tee shots, and then I do the rest. Yeah. Although sometimes he then wants to switch balls with me because he hits mine better. And I say, absolutely not. That's mine. I have to have some sort of advantage since we all know you're going to kick my butt anyway. All right. What is next? Oh, let's see. From the mainland, as we're on the little Skein bag train, I got another bag from Annie of Little Skein in the big wool. And it is her Totoro bag. And I love this fabric. I love Miyazaki. I love his films. He is one of, I think, probably the only filmmaker that I will just buy his films unseen and watch them. Normally I'd like to see a movie and say, okay, I'd watch that, you know, over and over again, and so I'll buy it. But his are ones that I'll just buy. I'm like, oh, Miyazaki did that? I'll just buy it. So I love his films. So this is the outside, which I love. And then this is really what sold me, is the inside. It's the little sunshines. I love them. They're so cute. And the blue polka dots, and I love it. So I now have 3 little skein bags, which makes her, I think she's the only bag maker that I have 3 bags from. And I'll probably be getting more because she makes such beautiful bags. For a while I just had 2. I have 2 from a lot of bag makers. I tend to just kind of spread it out, but I've now broken my 2 rule, and now I have 3. I'm okay with it though. I really am, because I love them. I love the size. I mean, I could fit a sweater in here, or a shawl with tons of room. And so here are my 3 little skein bags. Yeah, these kind of match, and then there's this one. But I love it. And in it right now is the wound up yarn for my next shawl design, which I have been mulling around in my head for a long time. And I have now put it in a bag with the needles. Now I need to get a notebook and a pencil in there, and then I will cast it on. I know what I want to do with it. It's going to take me a while to kind of figure out. I mean, I've kind of figured it out in my head already, but to get it on paper is another story, and then to knit it is another thing. So I've been working on that a lot, kind of in my head, and then hopefully I will get on that very soon. All right, well, that's it for From the Mainland. It was that bag and the yarn for the Waldo Wenda hats, which you already saw earlier, so you don't need to show that again. Up next, we have From My Holly. So that's it for all the knitting stuff this week. Now I'm just going to share a little bit about my parents' visit and my birthday and bath girl costume update, since I tend to do that during this section. All right, so my parents were here, and we did a lot of really fun things. We went to the zoo, and we went to the Doobie Brothers concert up at Ravinia, and we watched a lot of Wimbledon, as I mentioned, and we went to the Baha'i House of Worship, which is in Wilmette, and they got to hear my husband and I sing in the choir, and take lots of pictures. We went to a 4th of July picnic that my work puts on, and you can take your family too. So that was really fun. We get to watch some fireworks, and another really good friend of mine from Hawaii who lives in Missouri came up for that weekend. So that was really fun to have him here as well. And yeah, it was just, we did a lot of stuff. We watched a couple movies, we played some games. It was really fun. It was really nice to have them here. It was really exhausting because they're on, like, my dad came from Hawaii, my mom came from California because she was visiting her sisters there. So they're all on, I guess the west is that way. So it should be, I mean, you don't know this, but that's west. So they both came from the west, so they're both, like, on that time schedule, so they sleep in, you know, go to bed late. And I'm on, like, the opposite schedule. I wake up early and go to bed early, so I was really tired by the end of it. It was totally worth it, though, but it has taken me all week to recover, and I think I've mostly recovered. I think one more day of, like, going to bed at a decent hour and then sleeping in will help, and then I think I'll be good. Hello, so I'm back on a different day and wearing different clothes and different lighting. My computer had some sort of an issue and there was a little blip in the recording and I thought everything was fine, but when I went back to edit it this morning, after that blip, the video and the sound were completely off, and instead of making you sit through that, I thought I would just re-record that section for you all. So it is now Sunday afternoon / almost evening, and yeah, I'm just here to talk about a little bit about my birthday and show you some cool things. So I kind of listened back to what I talked about. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I remembered the gist. So I remember I was just talking about my parents' visit, which was absolutely wonderful. I'm really glad that they were able to come, and they had a great time. We had a great time. We got to do a lot of fun things that we don't normally do, so that was kind of fun. I mean, that's the fun thing about having people in town. It's an excuse to go do things in the place where you live that you don't normally do, you know. Like when we lived in Hawaii, people thought, oh, you guys go to the beach every day. Like, no, I work and I go to school and, you know, I live. I don't necessarily go to the beach and hang out in my bikini every day, which is, I mean, why I was always pasty white, but I was okay with that. Apparently Hedwig has something to say about that. And so we didn't, I mean, when people would come to visit, that was our excuse. Like, oh, let's go to the beach all the time, you know, because that's what they want to do because they're visiting Hawaii. So it worked out well for us. Yay. So we got to do some fun things while they were here. And then after they left, so they are now in Prague enjoying some family time over there. They've been sending us pictures and updates. I just Skyped with them for, actually it was Google Hangouts. I used Skype and then, anyway, we just talked to them, video chatted for a long while. Because they're going through some of my grandmother's things and spending time with family, and so they were giving us family updates and, you know, who's where and what's going on and all that, and they made a small dent in going through some of my grandmother's stuff, so they showed me some things, and there were some hand-knitted items. I was like, yes, please send those to me. I'm like, I don't even care if I'm going to use them. I feel like we just shouldn't get rid of them. Because I don't know if she knit them or if someone else in the family knit them or crocheted them, but I was like, we can't just like put those in a bin somewhere. So you'll be seeing those when they get here, plus a couple of fun handbags. Apparently my grandmother liked handbags, so I'm really excited about those things. And yeah, everyone over there that they've seen is doing well. I mean, everyone over there is pretty much doing well. Some people are out of town this time of year because it's a popular vacation time, but so they've been able to see the family that's there, so that's really exciting. And I guess they were wondering, like, so is you planning on moving here? And I'm like, well, I wouldn't say no if I could get away with it. So that's way in the future, but I would not say no to moving to Europe. Anyway. What else was I going to talk about? So my parents were here, my parents left. My birthday was this week. I didn't really announce it. I didn't really talk about it last time. It just kind of snuck up on me and a lot of people. I knew it was coming because my calendar kept reminding me. Unfriendly calendar. Anyway, it was fun. I went to work like a normal day, and then that evening we went back up to Ravinia, which is, I don't know if I've talked about it before, it's an outdoor summer festival, basically. It's the summer home of the Chicago Symphony Orchestra, and you can either buy tickets to sit in the pavilion, which are kind of expensive, and then you can see the actual stage, or you can buy seats for the lawn, which is very expansive and kind of almost surrounds the pavilion with the stage. And you can go and stand at the back of the pavilion because it's open. It's got a covered roof because they want to cover the stage, obviously, in case of rain, which is what happened on my birthday, of course. But the outside walls are open, so you can look in and see. And it's kind of hard to explain unless you've been there. So for this concert, they actually had one of the lawn screens. They don't always have this, but they have it piped in from the stage, which is like 100 feet away. So you could go look at it there, but we sat and watched it on the big screen. So you get, you know, HD, big face of Bobby McFerrin conducting, and the singers, which were absolutely phenomenal. It was so good. So we went to see the Chicago Symphony Orchestra conducting doing Porgy and Bess, or highlights from Porgy and Bess, with Bobby McFerrin directing or conducting, and then some soloists doing, you know, the parts, and then a choir behind them all. And the soloists were phenomenal. They were totally amazing. And it did rain through most of it. People just came prepared. There were some people that left, so there weren't that many by the end of it. But, I mean, by that many, I meant there were probably 1,000 people. I think the whole lawn area can hold about 5,000. Maybe not that many, but a lot. It's very large. And so we sat and we watched the big screen, and we just sat under our dinky little umbrella. We had taken umbrellas out of the car while my parents were here to take them with us on something that we went to. And we hadn't put them back in the car. So of course we get up there and we have one little dinky umbrella that doesn't work very well. But you know, it's the one that you leave in the car in case of emergencies. And I had my raincoat, so I just used my raincoat and we kind of sat under the umbrella, and our friends had their umbrellas. It was an adventure. We were definitely very wet by the end, but luckily it wasn't freezing. It was a tad bit chilly, but I had come prepared this time because when we went with my parents, it was really cold, but it wasn't raining. So this time I came prepared with, you know, hand-knit wool sweater and hand-knit wool shawl, scarf, and I was much warmer this time, but I was wet. So it was okay. We had fun. It was an adventure. It wasn't downpouring, so that was nice. It was just kind of a steady, a little heavier than a heavy drizzle, but not like rain. So it was definitely wet, but it wasn't like torrential downpour. Then I think we would have left. But we survived, and yeah, so it was fun. And my husband got me a birthday cake. I thought I'd show you all this birthday cake. You ready for this? Hold on a second to get it all situated. Okay. Dun, 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 ta-da! And here's the best part. Surprise! So this is a Lego birthday cake that Lego just came out with conveniently right before my birthday. So here's my cake. I didn't actually get an actual cake because I can't have gluten and dairy, which kind of, it kind of sucks because desserts are just kind of out of the question, but I can have plastic desserts with a little jester inside. So I thought that was really cute. And we can then reuse this for birthdays of all sorts. And it does come with bricks that you can do the number out in the front, and it comes with like a ton of options. So it's really cute and really fun. And ta-da, that's my birthday cake. So it was delicious, you know. And the other Lego thing, which is what my husband got me for my birthday present, was the Lego bird set. Ta-da! I've been eyeing this for a long time, so I'm really happy with it. And it comes with a blue jay, a robin, and a hummingbird with a flower. And they're all really pretty. They don't have their common names. They just have their like scientific names, which was really confusing for a while until I figured out what they were. On the back, they have pictures of the actual birds, so I made it a little easier. So, and they come in this really cool, like collectible box, kind of. Like, it's got these like fake strappy things on it, but it's one of the reusable ones, so you pull it out and it opens up, and because it was from the Lego Ideas. See down there at the corner. Lego Ideas is used to be under a different name, and now it's under Lego Ideas, where you can submit designs and then people vote on them, and then if you get 10,000 votes, then Lego will take a look at your project and consider making it. And, you know, they have to do all of the, you know, market research, and do they have the license to do that, and is it feasible, will it sell, you know, all of that kind of things, and does it need any special pieces or different colors or whatever. And then they decide out of, I think they have 2 kind of review sessions per year. And out of that pool, so whatever's made it to 10,000 by that review session, then they take a look at all of those. And usually there's like 5 or 7 maybe, sometimes not that many. And they'll take a look at them and then usually choose 1, sometimes 2. And the one that's coming out soon, we don't know when yet, is Wally. Which, oh my god, it is the cutest thing you have ever seen. It's like it was made to be made out of Lego. It's so cool. So, if you like Wally or if you like Lego bricks, then you should go take a look at this because it's absolutely adorable. And I can't wait till it comes out. I don't know how big it is. I think it's going to be like pretty decent size. It's not tiny. I think it's going to be like a pretty decent size. I really have no clue because they haven't like officially released pictures of it. There's just pictures of the design of the person who submitted it. So anyway, I think that's probably enough of me rambling on. Oh, there's one more thing I forgot. So remember how in the beginning I was talking about how I might have forgotten to put something in the show notes? Well, I did. Amelia so kindly gifted me the Peaceful pullover for my birthday, and I wanted to say thank you so much for that pattern. It's been in my queue for quite a while, and actually the child version was in my queue for a while. I can knit child versions of things for myself. I'm kind of tiny on the top, and so if I was just gonna knit like the extra large child version, and then they came out with an adult version. I was like, perfect, because then it all has all the shaping, because children's clothing doesn't always have the shaping that adult bodies need. I do sometimes shop in the children's section, but anyway, I think I say anyway. I say so and anyway a lot. I realized this, so as I say this again, that was the thing that I had forgotten earlier. Oh, and I think I was going to do a Batgirl costume update, but I think I'll save that. There isn't a whole lot to show, so there, gosh, now I'm really conscious of when I say so. All right, I have some work I'm going to do on it this afternoon, and then that will complete that piece of it, and then I can show it to you, because I'm looking at it over here on the chair. I'm like halfway through it, and so I could show you a work in progress, but I'll show it to you when it's done next week. It won't take very long. It's the utility belt is what I'm working on, and I kind of half put it together the other night, and I need to put the rest of the things on it. Hopefully soon. That's the plan. So again, it's gonna kill me one day. Not really, but it's gonna drive me nuts. All right. I will say goodbye to you all. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you will come back again. I should be back on a weekly schedule for a while until Gen Con, and that comes around. I'll probably be a day or maybe too late. I might try to I'll do some filming at Gen Con again this year, and definitely pictures. If you follow me on Instagram, there will definitely be pictures throughout the weekend as the festivities ensue. All right, I will say goodbye to you all and have a great week. Bye.